of government barriers to free market solutions in production and distribution of energy, including removing restrictions on the export of LNG and CNG worldwide, drilling and production operations on public and private lands and waters, modernization of existing and construction of new refineries, electric power generation and distribution, and federal gas mileage standards and fuel blends.
1 minute. Yes. Yeah, I agree in eliminating all the federal regulations that we can that inhibit the production of our oil and gas and coal production. You know, LNG gas, we right now sells in the United States around $2 per million cubic square foot. Over in Europe, the reason we're shipping it out is because over there they don't have quite the production, and they pay about $12 to $13 over in Japan and Europe. And that's why it's making it profitable. Until recently, we never had the ability to ship that out. And also in the United States, we could trade sweet crude, which is what we produce, for sour crude. And we would trade with Mexico because all of our refineries, back when we were dependent on Saudi Arabia for all of our oil, well, what they produced was sour crude. And so we couldn't burn what we was producing here in the United States. And so the lifting the export ban now is allowing us to ship out some of our sweet crude, and we can sell it at a higher price, even though, of course, we have the unfortunate drop in commodity prices right now. But I'd like to see the expansion of that.
Yes, I think I've already said earlier that the free market is the answer to the problem, not any more government regulation. In fact, I'm glad that we now are creating the LP gas liquefied means to be able to send that from our ports overseas. So we're getting to where we can send natural gas out in liquefied shape through our ports. Also, now that the federal government is allowed to export of our oil, we can start looking into that, doing that. But the thing is you got to be very careful when you sit up here and see a politician promise that we are going to do this for you. You need to make sure that the politician gets out of the way and let the fastest, best way that you're going to see exporting of our products and of our entire industry is to allow that free market to be able to take care of it, to make the profits, to give the jobs, because people are laid off now, and anytime the government starts putting regulations, limits on anything, you start harming employment, you start harming the free market, developing the answers to the problems, and government getting in the way. There is no example you can give me where government has passed a new regulation limiting the free market, that the free market has become more profitable. Profitable for the free market is more jobs for our citizens.
Okay. This question will go first to Mr. Christian. Land drilling. We support land drilling and production operations, including hydraulic fracturing. Now, that's the platform, but we had a question from our group that asked, is fracking causing damage to subsurface water?
The EPA did a 5-year study that they just completed that graded fracking and hydraulic fracking to see whether it was harming anything, causing earthquakes, specifically up around Timpson, Texas, near where I am. And the study came by that they could find no plausible answer that it was any relationship. Now, the Railroad Commission has been very careful. We now have a 5-mile radius to any well that's looked at, whether it be disposal or drilling. And that cannot be in line with a fault for the harm both in earthquake fears that are out there, also in groundwater. Groundwater is injected thousands of feet below the earth, and not the disposal water, thousands of feet down. And groundwater is at 100, 500, 600 feet, those level in there. So there's been no proof of any problems unless somebody's doing something wrong, and the Railroad Commission will come in and make sure the casings are solid during that time, concrete, all this. Our job is to protect the public, and thus far I think the Railroad Commission has done a good job.
Recently, the Railroad Commission passed a couple years ago what was called Rule 13, which redefined and reestablished the casings that go around a well that's drilled. There's about 7 layers of concrete and steel, and it starts off around at least a minimum 3 feet in diameter, and then it decreases as it goes through the aquifer. And then, the Railroad Commission has done a lot of study in showing how deep you have to put this casing below the aquifer, and it's got to be so many feet down before you can even start your horizontal drilling. And because of that proactive position that the Railroad Commission's taken, that's why we don't have, I believe, an issue in Texas with contamination. But in hydraulic fracking, that's what really has opened up our market and increased our production. And The other thing that the Railroad Commission's being out front on is seismic activity that you hear about. You know, there's 14 monitoring sites that the Texas has set up along with, in collaboration with the Texas A&M to help monitor seismic activity, to help be on the front of that issue.